Good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Behaaloscha, and welcome back. This is the pre-Shabbos drasha, because right now we're still not doing drashas in shul itself. I'd like to start off with just a few mazel tovs, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of a field trip together. So let's start. First of all, I want to mention mazel tov. Last week there was no pre-Shabbos drasha. There was a message sent out by the community rabbanim. And in lieu of that, I didn't have a chance to wish Mazel Tov to Ricky and David Adler upon the birth of their little grandson, who was named this last week, Wednesday, Ezra Yisrael. Be'ezras Hashem, you should grow up to give you, Manu and Dina, tremendous nachas always. Also have a chance to wish a Mazel Tov to Kevin and Leon Meyer. What an incredible simcha on their little Gavriel Yitzchak. Be'ezras Hashem, he should bring so much nachas to you, to Leon, to Kevin, to Baz, to Elizabeth, to all the siblings and the entire mishpacha. God willing, we should watch him grow up the Torah, the Torah lechuppah l'ma'asim tavim. We wish a Mazel Tov. This is all last week's Mazel Tov, which I didn't get a chance to wish Mazel Tov yet. To Joyce and Erica Austein on the bat mitzvah of Atara Golda Austein, and to the great grandmother, Mrs. Shirley Schachter. Only nachas here on inwards. This week we have a lot of simchas as well. Mazel Tov to Lior and Moshe Berger on the birth of a grandson, to Sigal and Meir Goldberg. The Bris Shuba Bishar Tavim Mitzlachas. Thank you for bringing so much simcha. This is the second simcha during this crisis, which is so special to be able to share. We wish a Mazel Tov to Chani and David Deutsch, who just celebrated a week back just before Shavuos, the bar mitzvah of their grandson Mordechai Schwartz. God willing, you should watch all of them grow up to give you so much nachas always. We are also wishing a Mazel Tov to Fran and Josh Eisenstein on the birth of a great granddaughter. Wow, that's unbelievable. To Tamar and Dovi Kastnet, God willing, you should see Oni Nachas be gesund from all your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Mazel Tov to Esti and Avi Goldstein on the birth of a first grandchild. They have a granddaughter to Jennifer and Chanina Wolf, and we will be hearing the name this Shabbos, Be'ezras Hashem. God willing, we should only have smachos to share b'gesund with the whole mishpacha. And a Mazel Tov to Chevy and Alan Kaufman and Tomasia and Evan Litton on Jonathan's engagement to Rita Moseri. What a beautiful simcha. And God willing, the wedding should be at a good and healthy hour. Mazel Tov to Sandy and Ed Clark on the engagement of Jacob to Emily Blumenfeld. Wow, what a big simcha. This is a mazinka and a mitzvah Hashem. We should really get a chance to share simchas only. So just a quick thought on the parasha. As we enter into Parshas Behaaloscha, then we'll take a quick look around the shul. But some thoughts as we prepare to go. And that is that in Parshas Behaaloscha, we hear about Vayi bin Soya Aaron, and we know that it's actually curtailed. It's framed somewhat on either side. There's a nun on either side of it. Why? Why is that so significant? Rashi tells us that She'ein Zeh Mekoyim, this is not the place it really belongs. It's to differentiate between Puranus or Puranus. Two difficult episodes. What are the difficult episodes? Very interesting to investigate. What is interesting is that afterwards, we have the next immediate parasha is Kemisonim Rabbi Hashem. They started complaining they were bad in the eyes of Hashem. And the Midrash Sifrei says, very interesting thing. Why does it say Vayehi? Vayehi is a word which actually connects us to the past. And part of what was bad is not the fact that they were complaining, but they were complaining again. They were back to the same people they were before this whole episode. We just had Sinai. We just had the experience of building the Mishkan. And they're about to move back. And what happens? They're complaining again. That's not the right way to do things. You can't leave an experience unchanged. We're about to come back to shul. This is our first Shabbos that people can actually be in the shul building since the end of March, at the beginning of March. Think about that. That's remarkable. Since the week of Purim, we've not been able to daven in shul. We should not be Vayehi. We should not be connecting necessarily all of the complexity and the complaints that might have been beforehand with now. Now's an opportunity to turn a new leaf. Now's an opportunity to have the perspective of the renewal. We should realize that Al Pi Hashem Yachanu Al Pi Hashem Yisrael, that it was the Hashem's will when the Jews stopped and when the Jews moved, when the Jews prayed, when the Jews did not pray. It is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands. We've done everything we possibly can in shul to ensure that we can come back to shul. But it requires a little bit of work. And we're going to try to take this opportunity as we sit there. And I tell you, personally, I feel that when I daven in a mosque, I feel it's a sort of private experience because your face is mostly covered. You can really sort of speak in a very quiet zone. There's not so many people around you. You can be in your own space. You can introspect. Gives us the opportunity to think about, as we come back to shul this week, what is going to be different? What is going to be different about our religious experience, our relationship with our friends, our family, our relationship with the Almighty? What are we going to do differently? And in order for this all to work, things need to work. We need to be able to work together. And let me explain what I mean. In order to work together, for this to be safe for everybody here, we put in place a lot of restrictions in order for this to work. I'd like to take a quick tour, just so everybody knows what they're about to get themselves into and what they're expecting as we move to our Shul Shabbos. Let's take a quick walk together. So here we go. If you look actually around I'm going to actually flip over here. So if you take a look at the sanctuary, you'll notice that this is the main sanctuary on the men's side. Every second row is actually blocked off. That means to say you're not able to sit in. And every row which is open, even the long rows, can only really house 3 people. And we're going to have to be very important. It's going to be very critical that people are only sitting where there is a blue tag on the back of the seats, as you can see. This is the same is true for the women's section. This is going to enable social distancing. Yes, if there are family members, it is possible for family members to sit next to each other. Let's say a father and a son, a mother and a daughter. But they will still have to take one of those seats, meaning this row of 3 will not have 2 people who are next to each other, but there can only be 3 people in the row, even if the 2 of them are family as well. You'll also notice that all the bookshelves are closed off, and part of the reason is that we're not sharing Siddurim and Chumashim. Everybody, please bring your own Chumashim and Siddurim to shul. It's going to be really important that we all work together. We're trying to minimize any contact. We're trying to minimize any public contact points, which could, God forbid, put people in danger. The same is true for the women's section over here. We have specific numbers on how much each of the sanctuaries is going to fit, and this is going to be part of the process of making sure that when we come back in a healthy way. Let's take a quick look at the Glak Gelnik base medrash over here upstairs. Quick tour. You'll notice, by the way, at the entrance of every shul, there's going to be the sanitizers and gloves. Gloves are not necessary except for the Balei Kriya, but if you feel more comfortable, there are gloves available. You'll notice in the Glak Gelnik the same thing as well. Every second row, and most of the rows, is curtailed off, and there's specific blue markers as to where people will be sitting. Same kind of arrangement over here in the women's section as well. Please utilize the seats which are going to be ready for you as well. And now let's take a quick look downstairs. A lot of amazing things going on here. A lot of incredible work was done by the reopening committee, by Marvin, by the maintenance team, by Dr. Steve Kellner, by Jeremy Schwart, and a lot of people who really invested a lot of time. You'll notice there are a number of things which are also different here. Our cubby holes. Our cubbies are closed this week. Our coat room is locked. The bathrooms are not officially open. If there's an emergency, people can use the bathroom. But really, the best practice is medically advised, is not to have bathrooms. Try to go before and try to go afterwards, but try not to. We're trying to minimize as much time as possible. From our special executive director who's been working tirelessly this whole time.
It's so good to have you all back. It's great seeing everybody good morning. I have to ask everybody their name because I don't recognize them by the mask, but now I'm meeting all the youngsters also, all your teenage children. It's great to see you all, and we look forward when we can be all together in a more comfortable zone. Good Shabbos to all of you.
An incredible maintenance team who's been working day and night to make sure this is all been put together. They really come through on all sides. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome, Rabbi.
Have a wonderful one. Thank you so much, guys. Finally, here's the ballroom. The ballroom is going to be obviously used for the Hashkava Minyan, and as you can see, we have a pretty socially distanced, a room which can usually host 300 people is now hosting the sum total of 42 people, all socially distanced over here. We have a women's section based on the sign-up, and Baruch Hashem, we're going to be in action. A reminder, there's no kiddushim, and there's no food. No food means to say, not even the coffee we bring to shul, because generally speaking, the only way you can drink a coffee is with the mask off. There's no masks off in this building. Anywhere on premises doesn't make a difference if people are coming to Minyan, they're almost at Minyan, they're just about to leave Minyan. We need to respect each other and look after each other. And that means to say wearing a mask at all times. So thank you for being part of the solution. And Mr. Hashem, we should always have good things to share. That is also why there is no drosha in shul, there are no shirim in shul. We're trying to minimize as much contact as possible that there is in shul. You'll notice by the doors as well, there's going to be specific entrances over here. This over here, the right-hand door coming into the building, is the entrance door. The door on the left-hand side, when you look at it from the outside of the building, is the exit. So we're going to have a flow of traffic. For those people going to the 8:30 Minyan on Shabbos morning, we're going to ask you to use the staircase over here in order to to be able to have a separate traffic flow from those people going upstairs. You'll notice, by the way, that when we looked at the sanctuaries, because of the numbers that we've put in, we call the SD number, the social distance number, although technically speaking we allow 25% capacity, it's going to be more around 10, 12% of capacity of the building at any given time at the most. And even those, the sign-ups are not full. So we're talking about a very, very small amount of people, probably, realistically speaking, around 5 to 10% of every room will be taken up. We all encourage people to spread out as well. It gets a little sunny now. Let's take a look at what's going on outside over here. We have an incredible amount of stuff going on. Now that the limits of people, the amount of people together has been upped, we're taking advantage of that. We've created again a space which is now going to be free of the sun and the wind and the rain, but is still going to be in the free air, which enables it to be even more healthy. We encourage people to use the outdoor minyanim as much as possible. Every minyan essentially has a parallel outdoor minyan, depending on demand. So here we go. The guys, our incredible maintenance team, have done an incredible job over here. And what we have is we set up the sukkah, we put up a slanted tarp on top, which is amazing. Thanks to Jorge, Jose and Elma, who just put this up. They made this literally yesterday by themselves, so that we have now a area which is going to be free of rain. As you can see, all the seats are more than 6 feet apart, and there's going to be 2 sections, but we're going to have it here that the Amud and the Bima are in the center with a lot more space around them. There's the women's section over here based on the demand, and we're going to have these 2 sections. So we have essentially the space for around about 40 people socially distanced in this area. And so this is an incredible amount of stuff that's going on. We're really excited to have everybody back. But again, those people who have health concerns, those people who are elderly, are really recommended not to come to shul. If they do want to come, they do need to seek the advice of their physician before coming to shul. We look very much forward to having everybody back. But let's make sure that as we come back, it's not vayihi. Let's not be the same people we were beforehand. Let's take what we can from this experience and our silence behind our masks to make a moment, to make a commitment to ourselves in all our relationships, something we can do in the privacy of the space as we return to our davenings. And we see a geula shlema b'meher of Yameinu.